You're listening to BookLineup, the podcast that solves stories, one twist at a time. Hosted by Sam, the strategist of suspense, and Clara, the curator of clever clues. This show is your gateway to unforgettable mysteries, literary legends, and the plots that keep you turning pages at 2 a.m. Whether you're a lifelong detective fiction fan or just here for the twists, you're in good hands. Let's get into it.
You know, when you think about Agatha Christie, the sheer amount of work is just staggering. Over 80 novels, so many stories, all those detectives. It can feel like a bit of a mystery itself for someone new. Like, where do you even start?
That's a really fair point. It is a huge literary world to step into. You could easily feel overwhelmed, walking into a bookshop and just seeing rows and rows of her name. Which one first?
Exactly. So that's what we're aiming for today. This deep dive, think of it as your roadmap for navigating the brilliant world of Agatha Christie, kind of equipping you to really explore the queen of crime.
Yeah. And to help you get your bearings, we're going to look at a few different ways in. We'll talk about the publication order, the chronology. Then we'll explore reading by detective, focusing on, the big ones like Poirot and Marple.
Okay.
We've also got a list, like a top 10 must-reads if you're short on time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some ideas for collecting or even gifting her books looking ahead to 2025.
Sounds like a plan. This should hopefully be your shortcut to really getting Christie and experiencing her work in, well, the best way possible. So, where do we dive in first with such a massive body of work?
Well, I think a natural starting point is just the timeline. Her career, it spanned, over 50 years? It started with the mysterious affair at Styles back in 1920.
Right, the one that introduced Poirot.
Exactly. And it went all the way up to Sleeping Rudder, which came out in 1976.
Mm.
So yeah, more than half a century of writing these amazing mysteries.
50 years. Wow. And the source material we looked at, it groups them by decade, which is actually quite helpful. Gives you a sense of how things evolved.
It does. And it mentions, that full list by decade and detectives are out there if you really want to go deep.
Okay.
But honestly, for a lot of readers, maybe a more engaging way in is to follow a specific detective's cases. And obviously, Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple are the most famous.
Ugh. Poirot and Marple. Yeah, for so many people, they are Agatha Christie, aren't they? So, okay. If you want to follow Poirot, step by meticulous step, where do you begin that journey?
Right. So for Poirot, the chronological path starts with the mysterious affair at Styles, 1920. Then comes Murder on the Links in 23. After that, the murder of Roger Ackroyd in 1926, which, wow, we definitely need to talk more about that one later.
Oh, absolutely. The big one.
Yeah. And his final book, Curtain, Poirot's last case, that wasn't published until 1975.
And isn't there that amazing story about Curtain? That she actually wrote it during, World War II?
That's right. Wrote it during the Bliss, I think, and then had it locked away in a bank vault for decades.
Incredible. Definitely makes you feel like you should save that one until the very end of his journey.
It really does give that sense of closure for Poirot. Okay, so then there's Miss Marple. For readers drawn to her, her quieter but just as sharp way of observing things.
Right. The cozy village setting, the cup of tea, the unexpected dead body. Classic. Where does her story start for us readers?
Her first novel appearance is The Murder at the Vicarage in 1930. Then The Body in the Library in 42. And interestingly, her last case is also called Sleeping Murder, published in 1976.
The same year as Poirot's last book.
Exactly the same year. It's almost like their literary lives were sort of destined to conclude together.
Huh. That feels kind of fitting, actually. Now, obviously, Poirot and Marple are the giants, but she did create other detectives too, didn't she?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You've got Tommy and Tuppence, the sort of adventurous couple.
Right, they're fun.
Yeah. And Ariadne Oliver, the novelist who keeps stumbling into mysteries, often alongside Poirot. And Parker Pyne, the sort of unconventional heart specialist who solves problems.
Parker Pyne, yeah.
They add a different kind of spice. Good if you want something a bit different, maybe slightly quirkier.
Okay, great. So we've got a couple of strategies. Publication order, follow detective. But what if someone's listening and thinking, look, I'm intrigued, but I just don't have time for dozens of books right now. What are the absolute must-reads?
Yeah, that's a common feeling. And that's where this top 10 list comes in really handy. It's like a curated tour of Christie's genius, hitting a bunch of different styles and, of course, those killer twists she's known for.
Okay, let's go through it. First up. And then there were none. The description calls it the ultimate no one is safe thriller. Sounds intense.
Intense. Yeah. It is. Absolutely lives up to that. Just masterful suspense building, that isolated setting.
Yeah.
It gets seriously creepy.
I believe it. Okay, next is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. We touched on this, the twist that fundamentally reshaped the genre.
Yeah, this is the game changer. That reveal. I mean, it didn't just surprise readers back then. It made everyone question the very nature of narration in mysteries. You know, the unreliable narrator concept we see so much now. This was a huge moment for that.
Completely redefined the rules. Okay,
Right.
number 3. Murder on the Orient Express. Described as snow, suspicion, and symmetrical genius. And it includes that great quote.
The impossible could not have happened, therefore the impossible must be possible in spite of appearances.
Yes, that's the one. Perfectly captures that puzzle box feel, doesn't it? Stuck on the train.
Totally. The claustrophobia, the limited suspects, it forces Poirot and you to think way outside the box. Then Death on the Nile. Jealousy, luxury, and a very dead heiress. Exotic setting, lots of passion.
Another visually stunning one. You can just picture it. Okay, moving on. The ABC Murders. This features a serial killer and one of Poirot's most ingenious deductions.
Right. This is Poirot, the methodical genius, trying to figure out this really disturbing alphabetical pattern before the killer strikes again. It's quite chilling.
Sounds like it. Then we get a Miss Marple, the body in the library. Called her most stylish case.
Ah, classic Marple. Something shocking happens in a very respectable, very proper place, and she sees right through it all.
Love it. Okay, next is Five Little Pigs. Cold case with psychological bite. This sounds interesting, digging into the past.
It really is. Poirot has to reconstruct a crime based on people's memories from years ago. It's all about, you know, how unreliable memory can be, how emotions color the past.
Yeah.
Very psychological.
Fascinating. Then there's The Moving Finger. Gossip meets murder. Small town secrets turning deadly.
Exactly. Shows how dangerous whispers and rumors can become. Very perceptive about village life, the darker side.
Number 9 is Cricket House. Promises twisted family secrets and a chilling payoff. This one has a reputation, doesn't it?
It does. It's known for being particularly dark, even for Christie. The ending is, well, it's definitely unexpected and stays with you. Quite unsettling.
Okay, duly noted. And finally, rounding out the top 10 is Curtain. We mentioned it, Poirot's Farewell. A curtain call for an era.
A very fitting end to the list and to his story.
That's a fantastic list. Covers a lot of ground. Now, beyond just reading these amazing stories, there's the whole aspect of collecting and gifting, especially with 2025 coming up.
That's right. And there are some really nice ideas mentioned in the source material for fans or if you're looking for a gift. These new 2025 collector's editions sound pretty gorgeous. Foil covers, color sprayed edges, nice typography.
Yeah, they're described as bookshelf candy. Sounds about right. They look lovely.
Definitely. And then the idea of box sets by theme, like Murder by the Sea or Locked Room Mysteries or Women Who Sleuth. That's a cool way to explore, isn't it? If you know someone likes a certain type of story.
That's a great idea. It gives you a curated experience. And what about the digital plus audiobook pairings?
Oh, that caters to how people read now, right? You can switch between the Kindle version and the Audible audiobook. Sync your place. They call it the coziest crime experience.
Sounds perfect for a rainy afternoon. And I really like that pro tip they included.
Oh, yeah.
Pairing Murder on the Orient Express with, like, an actual train ticket or a vintage map. How cool is that for a gift?
That is brilliant. So thoughtful. It makes the whole thing more of an experience, not just a book. Really creative.
Totally elevates it. Okay, so shifting gears a bit. Christie wasn't just a master plotter, was she? She actually, like, broke the rules of the mystery genre itself.
Oh, absolutely. The source calls her a literary magician for how she bent the rules. It highlights 5 big moments where she basically just ignored convention.
Right, like she just said, nope, doing it my way. Let's talk about those rule-breaking moments.
Okay, first one, maybe the most famous. The murder of Roger Ackroyd. The rule broken. The narrator did it. I mean, the accepted idea was the narrator plays fair, tells you the truth.
And she just flips that entirely. The person telling the story is the killer. Mind-blowing.
Completely. That quote from Edmund Wilson, the most brilliant trick ever played on the reader, sums it up. Imagine reading that in 1926. It forced everyone to rethink how they trusted the storyteller.
Yeah, it changed everything. Okay, what's the second rule she broke?
The idea that there's always one guilty party. She smashed that in Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
Because everyone did it.
Right. All 12 suspects conspired. It wasn't just one person.
Exactly. And then Poirot lets them go. It throws up all these questions about justice, morality. Is it okay if it's like collective revenge? Very bold for a whodunit.
Definitely pushes boundaries. Okay, third rule.
This one's wild. The sleuth, is the killer. This happens in Curtain, Poirot's last case.
Wait, Poirot himself, the great detective.
Poirot himself. He kills the villain who manipulates others into murder, basically, to prevent more deaths, knowing he himself is dying soon. It's complex.
Wow. That raises huge ethical questions, doesn't it? Can the ends justify the means, even for Poirot?
Precisely. It adds this really dark philosophical layer to his final act.
Yeah.
Okay. Fourth rule she bent. The murderer is already dead. That's in your own deaths. And then there were none.
How does that even work?
Well, the person orchestrating the murders actually dies partway through the book, but the killings continue according to their plan, revealed later in a message. There's no detective, just victims getting picked off.
That's incredibly clever and just bleak, utterly terrifying, because there's no one to solve it in time.
Exactly. The lack of a traditional detective, the posthumous confession, it's incredibly innovative and part of why that book is so chillingly effective. Okay, fifth rule. The victim wasn't murdered after all. Well, not in the usual way. This is in The Pale Horse.
What happens there?
The deaths aren't straightforward murders. It involves thallium poisoning, but it's sort of administered through suggestion and exploiting people's belief in, like, a curse or witchcraft. It's managed by an organization for profit.
So it taps into things like pseudoscience and manipulation? That feels surprisingly modern.
It really does. Shows she was thinking about different kinds of evil, not just straightforward killing. And there was that bonus example too, right, about 5 little pigs.
Yes. Highlighting her emotional depth. It wasn't just about the plot, it was about the people, that idea of psychological archaeology.
Right, Poirot digging into memories from 16 years earlier, trying to piece together the truth from flawed recollections.
It shows him as more than just a clue finder, almost like a philosopher, understanding human nature and how the past echoes. Really shows her genius wasn't just puzzles, but people too.
Absolutely. It adds that whole other dimension to her skill. She could portray people just as brilliantly as she could plot a murder.
So wrapping this up, it's really clear, isn't it? Christie's magic lasts because it's not just one thing. It's the intricate plots, yes, but also these unforgettable characters and, crucially, this willingness to innovate, to break the mold.
Totally. So whether you go chronologically or follow Poirot or just hit those top 10 highlights, you're getting into something special. A legacy built on clever puzzles, yes, but also deep human insight and that constant ability to surprise you right up to the end.
She really was a master at crafting those perfect puzzles while at the same time pulling the rug out from under you in these really clever ways. Just amazing.
Couldn't agree more.
So here's something to think about as we finish. Those rule-breaking moments we discussed, the narrator killer, everyone doing it, the detective killer, how do you think they might have rippled out? How did they maybe influence mystery writers who came after, or even, other kinds of stories you enjoy today? What rules in storytelling now, maybe even outside of mystery, do you think are sort of ready for someone to come along and completely reinterpret?
Now that's a twist worth saving for the next episode. That's a wrap on this episode of Book Lineup, hosted by Sam, the strategist of suspense, and Clara, the curator of clever clues. Join us next time. We'll be back with more must-reads, deep dives, and genre-defining books worth binging. Subscribe, share, and explore more at BookLineup.com. Until then, read smart, solve more.